Alex Pereira is going to be defending his belt against Israel Adesanya on April 8th for UFC 287. These two are the best strikers we've ever seen in the UFC. There's still debate with Anderson Silva in his prime and stuff, but these two guys are so skilled on the feet. It's never going to be a dominant win for one or the other.
I believe Pereira's going to win again. You know, there's some athletes that just have other athletes' number, and I think he works hard, and I'm rooting for him. I believe he's going to do it again.
I feel like Izzy is technically more crisp, but somehow Alex just finds the mark.
Have we ever seen a story quite like the Last Stylebender versus Poatan? A fighter who was superior in another sport, in kickboxing, in Alex Poatan Pereira, defeating Israel Adesanya twice, once via knockout and one via decision that most people believe the Last Stylebender did enough to win after constantly hurting him with the right hand. And then going over to mixed martial arts, after Adesanya had already had an extensive experience advantage compared to his rival in Alex Poatan Pereira, and not only beating him in kickboxing 2-0, but defeating him in the octagon in the 5th round of a championship fight where he was most likely up 3-1 in the case of Adesanya, even hurting Poatan at the end of the 1st round with an overhand right over the jab followed up by a left hook which sat Pereira down in a chair a little bit. But then 2 minutes and 1 second into the 5th round, Poatan was able to set up a combination similar to the combination he knocked out Sean Strickland with at UFC 276, with a jab into a same-side lunging left hook, which cracked Israel Adesanya on the chin as he tried to circle away. And then it was a barrage of technical and sharpshooter punches that would lead to a 5th round TKO victory for Alex Pereira and a 3-0 clean sweep for Pereira against Israel Adesanya, becoming the new UFC middleweight champion. And now we're going to run it back for the 2nd time in mixed martial arts, and the 2nd time inside the UFC. Can Pereira go 2-0 in 2 different sports with a combined record of 4 victories and no defeats, undefeated against the Last Stylebender in Israel Adesanya? Or will Adesanya finally be able to crack the code that is Poatan, who has been the most challenging fighter that he's ever faced in any sport he's competed in since his dawning in combat sports? In my opinion, this fight is a must-win for Israel Adesanya. If he was to drop a 4th fight to Pereira and add another title defense or the first successful title defense to the middleweight champion's throne, it wouldn't be a good look for the Last Stylebender. Losing all 4 fights to a single man in Alex Poatan Pereira and being finished in 3 out of those 4 fights would leave a lot of question marks and clouds of uncertainty over the continuation of the career of Israel Adesanya in mixed martial arts. Would he continue to try to defeat Pereira, or would he continue to go through the middleweight division working his way to another title shot, hoping that a heavy grappler in the division such as a Marvin Vettori or Khamzat Chimaev would be able to ground the phenomenal striker and take his title, ending the championship reign of Pereira? It just would be very difficult for Adesanya to gain the stardom that he once had if he dropped another fight to Pereira. But I also feel like although he was able to win most of the fight, most of the exchanges, and use his not normally showcased grappling to control most of the fight, Pereira is still going to have an upper hand going into the rematch. And I'll tell you why. I said this in the breakdown of their first fight back at UFC 281 in Madison Square Garden, and I'll say it again. Israel Adesanya has to either find the perfect shot to finish Pereira, or he has to fight perfect for 25 minutes. Israel Adesanya has to fight the most complete and technical performance that he's ever had in his mixed martial arts career to be able to defeat Poatan. Because Pereira only needs 1 shot in a 25-minute fight to continue his title reign. And we saw that in the last fight. Although he was able to score a takedown on Adesanya, even though he got reversed, and although the striking exchanges were very close between the two of them, and the low kicks of Pereira were very, very well executed throughout the title bout, Israel Adesanya was still running away with the fight. If the fight had gone to the decision, it would be another successful title defense and the continuation of the undefeated streak at middleweight for the Last Stylebender and Israel Adesanya with a victory over Alex Pereira. But that's not what happened. Pereira found the shot, with a similar setup to the fight against Sean Strickland, with a jab to the body into the lunging left hook like we discussed earlier, and the barrage of punches that came after that, with more left hooks, uppercuts, rear overhands, and continuations of combinations to put Stylebender on shaky legs, dangling his potential title defense, which was in his grasp, off the cliff of unconsciousness that the referee was able to save him from. But as we look at the game of Alex Pereira, it's all to set up his signature weapon. It's all to set up his archer of infamy in the left hook. The right low kicks directing his opponents into the left side, which can set up the left hook. The right high kicks, which can block off the potential power hand of an orthodox fighter and continue to circle them into the left hook. The jab to the body, which can get the opponent to parry like we saw with Sean Strickland, and then he can come up top with, again, the left hook. Pereira is going to be setting traps and using smoke screens and illusions to direct Adesanya into a bullet that has already caught him once before. And Adesanya is going to have to be elusive. He's going to have to be in and out, and he's going to have to be floating around the octagon like a ghost and be able to avoid the weapon for 25 minutes. But I honestly don't believe he can. I believe this will be another successful title defense for Pereira, and a 4-0 clean sweep against Israel Adesanya in a fight that we may never see again after UFC 287 goes off the air. Unless Adesanya can resort to the grappling, which he had success with in their first fight at UFC 281, I don't think he can outstrike Pereira. Yes, he can hurt him. Yes, he can pick him apart. Yes, he can be more active. He can land more volume. All those things can occur and will most likely occur. But you have a man in Alex Pereira who's going to have even more confidence now going in to the rematch at UFC 287. You're going to have a man in Alex Pereira who now knows he can knock him out in kickboxing and in mixed martial arts. And you're going to have a man in Alex Pereira who is going to have a better understanding of how Israel Adesanya fights in a new sport in mixed martial arts. And that is all going to carry over also to the side of Adesanya, because he has fought Pereira 4 times as well, or this will be the 4th time if we're combining disciplines in sports. But Adesanya also knows that he's never been able to climb the mountain and raise his hands atop Poatan. He's never been able to climb the Stonehenge that is Poatan and raise his hands in victory. He's always had to hang his head in defeat, even if he got close a few short times. And that is going to play into the head of Adesanya. And it's going to play into the head of Pereira, giving him even more confidence going into the bout. I think Pereira will find the chin of Adesanya again with a left hook. However, I don't think the referee's going to need to jump in this time. I think he's going to catch Adesanya with the left hook, drop him, and knock him unconscious with one shot. And he will again stand over the unconscious body of a foe who was never able to defeat him anytime they stepped in the ring together, or the cage in terms of mixed martial arts. The octagon has 8 sides. The kickboxing ring has 4 sides. But no matter how many sides these different rings have, Adesanya has never left the ring as a victor against Pereira. And Pereira has always left the ring or the octagon in victory. And I think he will do it again in Miami at UFC 287. Or will Adesanya finally be able to crack the code? Will he finally be able to solve the Rubik's Cube-like puzzle of violence that is Pereira, and get his UFC middleweight championship back, and finally have a victory over the man he has never been able to defeat? All of these questions make this main event at UFC 287 must-see. It's must-see television. It's 2 of the best strikers to ever compete in any combat sport, and including mixed martial arts. And it's a fight that everybody, whether casual or hardcore fan, is going to have their eyes glued to the screen for when Bruce Buffer says it's time, and Poatan and the Stylebender look to continue their historic rivalry. Thank you for watching. My name is Double M. I'm your host, and I'm out. Have a good night, everybody.